Welcome to Treadmill Talks with Shannon Maves, a podcast for athletes and fitness enthusiasts to pass the time during mind-numbing cardio while I use my no-bullshit coaching style to educate, inspire, and entertain. I'm your host, Shannon Maves. Now let's walk and talk. Hello and welcome to episode 44 of Treadmill Talks, the one about New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions are something that I personally have gone back and forth on over the years. Growing up, I would always set a New Year's resolution because I kind of almost thought I had to, but they inevitably always ended up in total failure. Probably because I was way too ambitious with most of them. I think one year I was feeling guilty about the amount of chocolate I ate over the holidays, so I made a resolution to give up chocolate completely. Cold turkey. Yeah, that sure as shit did not last. Year after year, I failed miserably at my resolutions, eventually leading me to believe that all New Year's resolutions were crap. I went from setting one every single year to just boycotting them entirely. I was convinced that they were just a recipe for disaster because they always left me feeling defeated. But then I grew up and realized that, hey, there can be gray area. Life doesn't have to be black and white. I don't have to set a huge goal or no goal at all. Maybe I can use the new year to simply motivate me and set goals that are a bit more achievable instead of trying to go from 0 to 100. Maybe I can set a goal to just be 1% better each day that year. Or maybe I can work on creating healthier or more productive habits. And I have had much more success with these methods. Nowadays, I'll set a resolution if it feels appropriate. But more often than not, I work on continuous goal setting or creating better habits. That way, I don't feel like a failure if comes mid-January, I've already fallen off track. But that's just what works for me personally. I know some people who have been very successful with New Year's resolutions. I personally know a few people who have quit smoking because of a New Year's resolution. And I even know of an IFBB bikini pro who started her fitness journey as a New Year's resolution. So just because my method of goal setting and creating habits works for me doesn't mean it's what you have to do. Remember how there's allowed to be gray area? You should do what works for you. But I do have some suggestions when it comes to creating resolutions or setting goals or working to create healthier habits in order to help you feel more successful. The first thing I want to mention is something called a SMART goal. Now, SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and time-based, rather than setting a vague goal to get in shape. Try setting a SMART goal. Specific, add in as many details as you can. Measurable, come up with ways to track progress along the way. Attainable, be honest with yourself and set a goal that you are capable of accomplishing. Relevant, make sure your goals align with your values and your long-term objective. Time-based, set an ambitious but realistic deadline to increase motivation. For instance, rather than setting a goal like, I want to get in shape, set a SMART goal like, I want to improve my body composition by increasing muscle mass and losing body fat before an event that I have going on in June. I will take weekly progress photos and measurements to keep me accountable and ensure that I am on the right track. Or you could set a goal like, I want to hip thrust 300 pounds for 4 repetitions by the end of the year. I will track my progress by logging all of my weight, sets, and repetitions to make sure that I am improving and moving in the right direction. The main point to setting SMART goals is that your goals should be detailed and realistic to keep you focused and not feel like you're floundering around. Finding ways to track your progress and setting a deadline will also help with consistency and adherence. I think the last true New Year's resolution I made was in 2020. I wanted to get better at pull-ups because they had always been such a struggle for me. So I made a SMART goal to videotape myself attempting a pull-up every day in order to perform an unassisted pull-up from a dead hang by the end of the year. And this was a resolution that I was actually successful with because it wasn't just a resolution to do a pull-up. It challenged me to get into the habit of attempting a pull-up every day. Some days I was stronger than others, but I still did it every day. And by creating that daily habit, I was able to improve just a tiny bit each day, resulting in me being able to regularly complete 3 unassisted pull-ups from a dead hang by the end of the year. Yeah, I know some girls can do a lot more pull-ups than that, but like I said, pull-ups have always been my weak point. They are hard as fuck for me for some reason, which is why I didn't just set a goal to do a pull-up. I had to be intentional and smart about my goal so that I wouldn't get frustrated and give up. Which is why I personally like to put more emphasis on working to create better habits. Resolutions can be great sometimes, but creating small daily habits generally leads to long-lasting results. If you haven't read the book Atomic Habits yet, I definitely recommend it. The entire premise of the book is on creating small habits that compound over time. The author goes over many different steps to creating new habits, but one of my favorites is the method of habit stacking. This is one I've implemented a lot in a lot of different ways of my life. For instance, when I wanted to improve my flexibility, I made it a habit to stretch at the end of every workout. My muscles are nice and warm, so I can get deeper into the stretches, and it really only adds on a few minutes to my workout and helps me cool down. When I wanted to break the habit of letting dishes pile up in the sink, I stacked the habit of cleaning at least some of them every time I washed my hands. I mean, if I'm already in the sink washing my hands, I might as well take an extra 30 seconds to clean a couple of dishes. And now that I do this regularly, I rarely have any dishes in the sink, so it's become much less of a chore. So if you don't want to set an actual resolution, maybe you can work on creating habits. I really recommend this method, especially if you tend to gravitate more towards that all or nothing mindset. Because if you're someone who tends to go ham over the holidays, knowing that your diet starts on January 1st, then there's a good chance you're just going to perpetuate that cycle year after year. But how great would it feel if next holiday season you didn't feel like you were completely out of control around the holiday food because you didn't go all in on an unsustainable diet, but rather created habits that you could actually adhere to? Most people have tried everything, but they've commit to nothing. Instead of setting a resolution to go from 0 to 100, try continuous goal setting and work to go from 0 to 10, then 10 to 20, and so on, which is another method I use a lot in addition to creating habits. Instead of setting just one goal, I'll set short and long-term goals. Kind of like the SMART goals I mentioned, setting short goals along the way can also help to measure progress and maintain motivation. So if your goal is to hip thrust 300 pounds for 4 repetitions by the end of the year, maybe you can also set an initial goal to hip thrust 250 pounds for 4 repetitions by the end of this month, and then 260 pounds for 4 repetitions by the end of next month, and so on and so on. I'll finish this little segment with filling y'all in on my plan for my resolution for 2024. I honestly don't really have any specific SMART goal at the moment. Not to say that I won't add one in at a later date, because I definitely practice continuous goal setting. But my plan for 2024 is more just to set a focus or like an intention for the year, which is my business. I've already got some pretty good habits in play when it comes to my business, although I'm sure I could always improve and add in some more good habits. And this past year was actually my most successful year in business, but it was also the most challenging year considering everything that I had to go through with the move across the country and whatnot. But 2024, my vision is clear, and I'm saying it out loud to manifest it and maybe just to hold me accountable too. But I am going to put in even more heart and soul into my business in order to grow even more and have yet another most successful year yet. I'd love to know your resolutions or goals for 2024. Or maybe like me, you just have an intention or a focus for the year. But before I wrap up this episode, there is one last thing I wanted to mention when it comes to New Year's resolutions. And that is all of the new people in the gym. January will always be a busy time in the gym, and New Year's resolutioners are a big part of why. It also has to do with the fact that most people are done with their holiday vacations and they're home and getting back into their normal routines. But there's also a lot of new faces in the gym because people set resolutions and goals and try to create better habits like going to the gym more regularly. So I want to hit this from two completely opposite perspectives. The perspective of the gym rat who goes there 365 days a year, and the perspective of the person who is brand new to the gym and is going because perhaps they set a resolution to. To my fellow gym rats, yes, the gym is going to be crowded this time of year. Yes, you may have to wait a bit longer to use your favorite machine. But instead of getting annoyed and impatient, think about how fucking cool it is that all of these people have taken the time out of their day in an attempt to be 1% better than they were yesterday. Shift your mindset and let it motivate you. Pay attention to the newbies and make them feel welcome. It may have been a while ago, so perhaps you don't remember very well, but you were new at one point too. And it's really fun to see who sticks around and getting to witness their progress over the weeks, months, years you might end up training at the same gym together. Hell, that person might end up becoming your gym buddy later down the road. Now, to the person who is brand new in the gym, I am rooting for you. I am fucking proud of you for getting out of your comfort zone. The gym can be an intimidating place for some people. Just walking through that front door is an accomplishment worth celebrating. Some days are going to be harder than others, but keep going. Keep showing up and stay consistent. You're not going to see progress on a daily basis. Some weeks your progress might even be pretty stagnant. But keep going. And remember where you are right now. Take photos. Take the fucking gym selfie. Because in a week, a month, a year from now, you are going to look back at this moment and be like, holy shit, I fucking did that. And also remember that the meatheads in the gym are far more concerned with themselves than they are about you. Trust me. They're flexing in the mirror thinking to themselves, holy shit, I fucking did that. They're not concerned with you. And if for some fucking reason they are concerned with you or they're judging you, then fuck them. Wherever you're at in your fitness journey is perfect. Keep going. Set a New Year's resolution if it helps you. Set a SMART goal if it works better for you. Work to create small, sustainable habits if that works best for you. Or just set a focus or an intention for the year. Respect that other people are on their own journeys and different things work for different people. If you're not sure which method is best for you and where you are in your journey, then hit me up. Send me a DM to chat or click the link in the show notes to apply to work with me. And be sure to check out next week's episode, the one about gym etiquette. Thank you for listening to Treadmill Talks. If this episode taught you something, lit a fire under your ass, or at least helped you forget how long you've been walking in place, please leave a review or take a screenshot to share on your social media. Don't forget to tag me at Shannon Maves so I can give you some love right back. And thanks again for listening to my Treadmill Talk.